So, Neil.
Are we on the air?
We are live on the air right
on Facebook.
now.
I did it through Santa Cruz Waves, so 500,000 people could be watching.
Welcome everybody on Santa Cruz Waves.
This is a
impromptu show.
Impromptu show back at the boardroom for tonight.
We are back at the beautiful Santa Cruz boardroom, everybody. All right, back to you.
A little nervous.
Okay.
Because I got, because I got my stage fright. No, I'm stage fright. I got my brother here, right? From New Jersey.
This is your real brother.
My only brother I have. I love him dearly. Okay, he lives in New Jersey. Here with my nephews.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm sure you got questions that you said you want to get to the dirt.
Well,
I'm not sure how.
We don't get a lot of juicy stories, so
what do you mean?
Maybe we'll get one or two.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Huh?
Are we gonna do some introductions?
Yeah. Okay, we can start with the ladies right here.
Okay.
This is who are you?
I'm Rose Riley. I'm Luke's girlfriend.
Luke.
Hey.
This is Luke Pearlberg. This is Luke Pearlberg, my nephew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Luke, how old are you?
I'm 21.
Okay.
21.
These guys live in Manhattan.
Yes.
Manhattan.
We do.
Yeah.
Live in Manhattan.
Yes.
Okay.
Manhattan.
And,
Awesome.
and the nipper over here. I always call him the nipper. Because you always call him the nipper. This is Sam Pearlberg.
Sam.
Sam.
Yeah.
Right.
And Sam's got a talent, right?
Sam was born with a ball in his feet, at his feet. and he's an unbelievable soccer player. And we're going to find out how more unbelievable he's going to get because he's going to... Where are you going?
I'm going to Leicester.
Leicester's where?
Leicester's in England, center of England. I'm going to it's called the Fox Soccer Academy. It's an academy run by Christian Fuchs, who played for Leicester.
He was left back for Leicester.
He was left back for Leicester, captain of Austria. Yeah, going there.
He was captain of Austria?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So is this like a tryout for you? Like to maybe possibly move up? Or is it like an internship or something?
No, it's I got a scholarship to go there. So it's basically I'm finishing my they have an extra year of high school. So I did 3 years of high school, and I'm finishing my last 2 years there. Whilst going to the soccer academy that's there, which is like, one of the best that they have in England. It's just a great opportunity.
So if you get into this, you're good at playing soccer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you, but anybody
yeah.
who gets in it, we're talking the cream has risen to the top.
Yeah, you got to be pretty good.
So you're okay.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
It's also just, GP will tell you, it's also the start. This is where you go.
Right.
This is where the work begins. This is where it becomes serious.
Exactly.
And is this where you get discovered? Is this like the next level before you go to the next level?
Yeah, pretty much. And in the U.S., soccer's just not as big, right? So the scouting and all that, it's just not at the same level as when you go to England. You play against we have the opportunity to play against these teams like Man City and like Chelsea, but also some of the lower league professional academies that are there. So everyone's scouting, everyone's looking to players.
Is that what Gooch did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Lennon did. Yeah.
Yeah, he did the same thing.
And Lennon stuck with the same team. He left 4 years ago.
Yeah, I literally right before I came. I'm GP. I'm Neil's brother. I literally before I came here just got off the phone with Lyndon's dad, Paul.
Oh wow.
We've been friends for many years. But to fill in the blanks for Sam, so yeah, they finished 2 years of high school there. But the schooling is provided for by the academy. They do the schooling, and it's minimal. It's like 3 hours a day. It's about 80%, 85% soccer and 15% schooling. But you have to do the schooling. But to answer your question, TC, so at the very least you get 2 years of great soccer and you get your schooling. While you're in that process, they also expose you to refereeing, to coaching opportunities too. And then obviously a percentage of those players that will make it as professional soccer players. If you do, academies such as Fox Soccer will sell you as a contract to one of the major clubs. And then if you make it further, not only do they get the initial transfer fee, but if you then go on to really become something, then they'll have a secondary clause where you get, they'll get a secondary payment if that player really makes it big stuff.
So they're investing in this kid.
But what's really good here, the problem in the United States is, like if we live close to Manhattan, where these guys live in Manhattan, if you play basketball, if we took a tour around Harlem and the Bronx, you'd see a lot of urban street ball. That's where a lot of those players come from. And they have an opportunity sometimes to go to college and play here. In the US, soccer is a very expensive game. So a lot of those kids that don't have that kind of money are missed out. This is one of the problems of soccer in this situation. Whereas in England, such as the Fox Soccer Academy, the academy's free, and they subsidize it by selling those transfer fees on down the road. So
got it.
That's how it works.
And what's your forte? Are you
scoring goals?
Well, yeah, I'm more of a playmaker. I tell you what, I used to score, like, young, I used to score, like, 20, 30 goals a season, like, you know, in, like, travel soccer, like, little, you know, like, 10, 11 years old, I used to, like, score all the goals. But, yeah, now I've, you know, developed more of a playmaker. I play center mid, like to control the game, you know, be vocal, be a leader, all that stuff. Yeah.
And how old are you?
17.
17. Senior in high school?
Going to be, yeah.
Going to be a senior?
So GP's probably going to tell some stories tonight. I don't know. I think we only got in one fight, didn't we, GP?
Oh, that's the question I wanted to ask.
We only got in one fight.
Yeah, I think.
Do you remember?
Yes.
Where was it?
Our house.
Was it our house?
The house we grew up in, yeah.
No, I don't think we got a fight
No?
there, did we?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
remember Dad, I thought it was a water polo match. The old
Oh,
Black
we definitely got, yeah. I was a senior in high school and
Right.
playing water polo, and you came back for the alumni game.
Alumni game.
You were
yeah.
a goalkeeper, and I was what would be a centre forward.
Right.
So we were opposed. Oh, we got in a big fight that time. Big time.
Did this happen during the game?
During the game.
During the
yeah.
game. They had to
Yes.
get our dad. They had to get our dad come
Separate
Oh,
us.
did you
Oh,
whip you guys after that?
Just
yeah.
haymakers.
It was a big whoop.
Oh, so but you guys were on different teams?
Yeah, I was playing for the school, and he was like the alumni game coming back.
got
He was,
it.
you know,
Yeah, the alumni game.
And
Yeah.
did Neil start that fight?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, shit.
But there was another story too where he came back, nothing to do with sports, where he came back, he'd been gone for years, he came back Christmas, and then from the time that he left to the time he came back, I was now, you know, I was a big boy now, I was a man, and I was a little kid that he remembered. And he was just, you know, he was
Giving you shtick.
He was treating me like a little kid, and it was in our house, and I just absolutely popped him one. And that was kind of a watershed moment in our relationship.
I remember that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Is that the end of
You
the
were probably
story?
drunk.
You guys haven't fought since?
Yeah.
No, not at all. Well, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Kids, who do you think would win
Oh,
between these two now?
in what?
And they were to
Yeah.
square up and box each other.
Well, listen.
No, he means
No,
No,
oh,
it means that. It doesn't mean us.
Oh, the,
No, them.
oh,
Well, all right.
absolutely.
Yeah, he's bigger.
You're out. You gotta, yeah.
You train a lot, but in being like lean and quick speed.
I got,
Well, no,
that
that
is
is
I got
an
reach. I
advantage.
got
You got
reach.
size.
I got reach.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
If he had a gas in 30 seconds, I would rope a dope him and it'd be all over.
So, God bless my brother, right? My brother's one of the most, he's probably the most passionate soccer fan of all.
Nuts.
If you go see a game with my brother, you have to take earplugs from
Yeah.
from Jason down the street, from
Yeah.
Justin down the street, the listening staff.
Yeah.
Because he screams
Oh yeah, lunatic.
lunatic.
This season that he just finished, he played for Liverpool International Academy. They only had one person get sent off the entire season. It was me. I was the only one that got a red card.
He
goes to one
he
game.
Was in the, he's in
He
the
went to
crowd.
one game. One game.
One
So
game.
he's there for. He gets there late. He gets there 15 minutes at the game.
Yeah,
Immediately gets sent off.
yeah.
Immediate.
I was getting my vaccine
Immediate.
that day, and I was
Yeah,
late.
because
getting to the
because I had gotten into
Yeah.
like a you know, I was up against a kid, you know, throwing bows, and got into a little fight with him, and he gave me a shot, and we were going out of bounds, and I shoved him out of bounds like into the bleachers, and then he gets involved, and he just gets sent off immediately.
Is that embarrassing when you were a player?
No.
You
I'll tell you what. No, I'll tell you what. Because I'm used to it. Because it's happened for the entire time I've been playing soccer. For the entire 10, 11, 12, 13 years.
There was
that I've
an
been playing
era. There was an era where mom used to make you go to games with a towel, like a dog.
This is not going.
soccer. He used to bite on a towel. He used to bite down on a towel.
Yeah.
All right, it's nice seeing you, Santa Cruz.
So the passion that because Neil was a pretty good soccer player.
Yes,
right?
very good.
And did you go to the games and get thrown
No,
out?
because I was young then. Yeah, I was very
so
young.
how
yeah.
was the age difference? Well, you were
7.
the same age.
I'm 64.
So yeah, it's basically 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 6, 7 years,
I
depending on.
mean, I got a few
time of
aggro.
year.
I guess a little bit aggro, but not like him.
Yeah.
You know, just red card after red card. You know, but funny though.
I think I've had 2 red cards.
I've only got a red card. I was red card as a coach. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never had one. You've never gotten a red card.
I've never gotten a red card. I got a few yellows. I got a few yellows from my mouth.
For your mouth.
Talking trash.
Talking trash.
Yeah.
Is that to the referee or to the other player?
No, not
What's
to the
your
referee.
best,
To other
what's your
players.
best line?
So I told one kid. Well,
This season.
this season we were
The
playing.
free kick.
We were playing Manalapan. It was a season game, and we were up 3-0. But this team was just talking so much trash, and so I had a free kick, and the opposing center midfielder, it was number 17. He was in the wall of the free kick. And he was staring right at me, like trying to intimidate me. So I said to him, "Are you gonna watch this go in?" and then it was 4-0.
And then,
True story.
You
True story.
watched it?
Yeah, yeah. And then he watched it go in the net. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have one great arm and one not so great arm. How does? I mean, honestly, that's the question I want to ask. How does it affect in soccer? I mean, I know you don't, unless you're a goalie.
Tell you what, I get away with a lot of handballs. Yeah, on the chest, like right here. But never call
So
it.
you can
No.
so you can like sort of push it a
Yeah.
little bit.
So
Yeah.
you use that for leverage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You stick to your advantage.
Yeah, it's used to my advantage.
Like what handball?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
His balance, though,
Yeah,
it is amazing.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll
His
tell you one thing.
balance is incredible.
When someone's on my left side and they're going at me, I can sort of block them off and shield them. On my right side, it's a little bit difficult, so I sort of had to learn how to change my game and almost find a way to use it to my advantage. And like that's something that I use. Tell you what, it's a weapon too. You know, in the ribs, right in the ribs. Ooh. Yeah, I'll get you right in the ribs.
Oh yeah, no,
That's a good one.
That hurts.
Yeah.
It's like basically like it's
you
just
got
this.
that.
It's just this,
Yeah,
but
it's
with
like the
this
elbows.
like direct strength of the shoulder without
Yeah.
the rest of the weight.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But like you said, balance.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
balance and stability and agility that have come from the compensation, how his body's compensated. In fact, years ago when he was smaller, I coached track, and my assistant coach said to me, he was running around the track, he was like 8 years old, 9 years old, my assistant coach, and you know, when you're with your kids all the time, you don't pay such close attention to that kind of stuff, because you're with them every day. And my assistant coach, John, says to me, he says, if you ever notice Sam's balance, it's unbelievable. And I was like, yeah, now that you mention it. And it's true, as he's grown older, his balance is absolutely incredible, absolutely terrific. And we have some still shots of him at almost 45-degree angles. It's just, it's pretty amazing how the human body compensates, or how the brain compensates for whatever ability, disability we may or may not have. It's absolutely tremendous. And he's also a really amazing runner.
Well,
Really great runner.
I feel like I'm sure you see yourself a little bit as an inspiration to other kids because you're at a premier level of soccer, and your disability doesn't really affect you with that.
Yeah, I tell you what. So there's a kid. I think he's about my age, maybe a year older. Found on my Instagram. His name's Hansel Emmanuel. He's a basketball player, and he's one of the top recruits in the country. He's got one arm. So I was looking at him like, and you see all the he's at 500,000 followers, something like that. And you look at these comments on Instagram, everyone's being inspired. I'm like, I can do the same thing that he's doing, just in a different sport. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy. You never really think about that growing up, because you have your own like people that you look up to, like the best players in the world. Yeah, but for other kids, yeah. Now that I'm a little bit older and starting to think about that, yeah, that's true.
As a coach, and I just had the same conversation with Lyndon Gooch. Lyndon Gooch is a professional soccer player from Santa Cruz. I was just talking to his dad, as I said before earlier in this broadcast, that just said chatting with him before I came here about this very point, that when he was smaller, and I'm a professional coach in track, and I said to him when he was younger, I said, listen, whether it's soccer, whether you're going to go for a job, whether it's school, whatever it is, if a coach or prospective employee is going to employ you, and they have somebody going for that same job or that same soccer position of equal talent, they're going to choose somebody with two arms.
Yeah.
It's not because they're being mean, it's just because they're more familiar with that. They're going to go with what they're familiar with. So with that said, you can't be as good as that person. You have to be twice as good as them, or you have to at the very least work twice as hard.
Yeah, and
he's always gone with that. To be fair to Sam, he's always followed that advice.
Yeah, well, to add to that, I was never, up until now, I was never big at all. I was always one of the smallest kids on the field. My freshman, sophomore year of high school, I was barely 5 feet tall. So to add on to the only having one arm, I was little. So I had to work around other ways to get past players. I mean, if you look at Messi, he's only 5'6", but he's the best player in the world. But I know one of my friends, his name's James Cosgrove. He's been 6 feet for God knows how long, freak athlete. I was never anything like that. Like I was always little, but I sort of had maybe work on things like ball skill and working, getting past defenders, being fast, all those other things that can help you in your game. Besides just having that size and having that strength.
Good kid.
Yeah.
Good kid. So I asked Luke over here to sing something for us. Can you?
Yeah,
do whatever
sure.
You want. You do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. It can be 5 seconds. It can be 2 minutes. It can be whatever you want. But
Yeah, I could do a couple little.
So you
little
are
bars.
a theater, or your goal is to work in theater.
Yeah, I'm an actor. I've done musical theater for a long time. I've done, is it 11 or 12 years now, voice training with a man named Chris Pinella back east, who was a member of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and a whole bunch of other incredible things on resume. So I have a lot of training in that, but now I specialize, mostly in just straight acting, no music. At least that's what I'm training in. Of course, work is work is work.
I've seen
So
you
I'll
over
do
the years-
anything.
I've seen
but-
you over the years at the theater, by your house, and stuff like that. I've never
Yeah.
seen you in person sing, and I just, for me, I just
Yeah.
like to do that.
Yeah, no, of course. So I was thinking, because you mentioned that on your other show
Yeah.
earlier today, you were playing some Elton. I was like, I know a little bit of Elton.
Perfect.
I've seen him twice in concert. And I wrote, in part, an original arrangement with Chris a couple of years ago. So one of those songs, probably not the whole thing. I don't want to take up too much time.
You
But
don't worry about the time.
yeah,
Just
it
have
was,
fun.
and now I know Spanish Harlem are not just pretty words to say. I thought I knew, but now I know that rose trees never grow in New York City. You know, there you go. Yeah.
Impromptu, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have that forever now.
And
Yeah.
so singing was your gig, and now it's shifted to acting.
Yeah, so I trained for a long time in, well, as a young kid, a lot of in improv, like Second City and SNL type work. And then as you kind of get older, you know, middle school, high school, most of the work is just musical theater and just music. So whether it be like voice recitals, musicals at the high school, musicals at local theaters, that's kind of what the work is, because people don't, at that level, pay to see, you know, straight plays, whether that be, you know, your Tennessee Williams stuff, even Shakespeare, things like that. They don't sell as well because they're not as fun and they're not as well known. But as you get into higher level work, when in regards to training, you have to make a decision. And I was like, well, you know, I can always work privately on voice, and dance is whatever because I'm a guy. They don't care. That's just the truth of it. They just don't care. We can get away with anything. Unfortunately for the women in my field. But the hardest thing is finding, like casting-wise, is finding really high-level trained actors. And those are also the people who are going to be hired for television, hired for film, because it's a different animal than just training to, you know, smile and wave. Right. Finding deep emotional resources, whether that, you know, and that's not even just sadness or anger, that's joy as well, is a totally different animal. So I was like, well, that's probably the avenue that's going to be most worthwhile for training. And also for the style of work that I want to work in, which is not really musical theater, but more that kind of, I like to investigate people. And I got more opportunity to do so with more rich, full characters, which you find more in plays and in films than you do in musicals, because it's more, that's more spectacle.
You become more the part. So
Yeah.
You're currently in Manhattan, New
I
York
am.
City.
Yep.
Is Los Angeles in your future? Is that like where you end up going?
So every once in a while it crosses your mind, because that is, you know, of course, that's the home of film.
That's where you want to be.
New York is where you want to be for theater. LA is where you want to be for TV and film. TV's starting to migrate east, just because it can be cheaper to film in places like Georgia and Brooklyn. But then, you know, I've got a lot of friends from LA, and one of them told me once, maybe a year ago, I think I'd rather eat glass than sit in LA traffic ever again in my life. And I'm like, yeah, you know, yeah, that's right. You have to get a car, and then you have to deal with the traffic. Maybe not. Yeah.
Well, New York's gonna have terrible traffic, right?
Subway.
Oh.
Yeah. I've never been in a car in New York other than the occasional Uber in my life.
So you don't own a car in New York?
No, God, no. It'd sit in a garage. $18 an hour to never use it.
So my brother is a world-class athlete, track and field athlete, coaches, you know, guys from Netflix, right?
Yeah, I just worked with one of the co-founders of Netflix on Monday when I first arrived here. Yeah.
Right? And Reed Hastings, but he was. Right?
Yes, that's a long story.
And
Too
many,
much.
many athletes all around the world.
Yep.
Now, what I remember was
Wrote a couple books.
when my brother almost lost his leg in a speedboat accident.
Yes.
And he almost didn't have two legs.
True.
And
A speedboat accident?
Yeah, the cable broke from the steering wheel to the outboard, and the boat span around. He fell out, and the propeller.
Yeah, I was sitting. Neil was actually monoskiing, and as the boat went to turn, you know, to make the turn in the bay, I'm sitting I'm sitting inside the boat up by the windshield, and something that you shouldn't be doing. Our sister was sitting in the back, so she was fine. So the cable snapped, as Neil said, from the steering column to the outboard motor. So long story short, the engine fell to one side, still bolted to the boat, but it caused the boat to just spin. And of course, I was at the front, so I shot out, and I was unbelievably unlucky and incredibly lucky at the same time because the propeller went through my leg, as opposed to anywhere, and just missed my femoral artery. So that was.
You were in the boat when that happened?
Yeah, well, he was in the water.
In the
he
water?
was skiing.
So you scooped you up, you're bleeding everywhere.
Everywhere. How I lived is just one of those things, It wasn't my time.
How many stitches did you get from
Oh
that?
my
You
God,
remember?
60, 70. It was still through my, it hit me pretty much one of the very few places, if not the only place in my body, where I could withstand that kind of an impact. Yeah.
Well, because if it would have gotten your femoral artery, you
It
would've
was
survived.
over.
You
The
would've died out
doctor
that time.
told my parents that it was the thickness of my bathing suit from hitting my femoral artery. It wasn't my time.
Was that the boat that you sank? Is that
No, that was the
that's
story.
different story. But anyway, but then I think Nicole, our sister, got you into running. So didn't she? Kind of pushed you into.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, really.
We were all drank. We were all.
Yeah, so you leave high school and I play team sports like everybody else, and then you finish that and you don't have much going on really. I moved to the United States. I did some what's now called cross training, just going to the gym and using the machines. I didn't really know what I was. This is in Los Angeles, and I had a girlfriend that liked my English accent for a little while. Then when she got bored of that, she got rid of me, and so I had nothing going on in my life. So I'm on the phone with my sister. She's in New York. And moping about and complaining about this girl that broke up with me and had nothing going on with my life. I was working as a doorman in a British pub in Santa Monica. Long story short, she flew me out. She said, "What are you doing this weekend?" And I said, "Why?" She goes, "Why don't you come out to New York? I'll pay for your ticket to come out to New York if you can get your shifts covered." I said, "Yeah, of course." So I came out, and she threw me into a race in the Bronx, cross-country race. I didn't have running shoes. I had high-top basketball boots. I hadn't really done any running since I was in school. And I got through the race, barely. And we went out for lunch afterwards in Astoria, Queens. She said, "You really should get some direction in your life." I said, "What do you think I should do?" She said, "You should run the New York Marathon next year." This was now November of 1989. So she was referring to the 1990 New York Marathon. I said, "Absolutely not. There's no way I'm running a marathon." But she kept talking me into it. And when I went back to LA, and I finally did run the marathon in 1990. It nearly killed me. I ran very slowly. I did finish it. It took me 4 hours and 41 minutes.
What's your quickest time?
And so, I'll speed the story up. So I didn't run a step for 9 months. I moved out of LA, came up to join you up in Santa Cruz, and because LA was just not going well. And I was here in Santa Cruz, and I got the flu, and I went to the doctor's office, for the flu, and I'm sitting in doctor's waiting room in the summer of '91, 9 months after the New York Marathon, and just flicking through magazines. There was a Runner's World magazine there, which I'd never seen before, and there was a little ad. It's very appropriate we're telling the story in Santa Cruz. A little ad for the Big Sur Marathon for the following spring of '92, and I was like, you know what? I think I can do better. And it took me that long for the mental pain of that marathon to wear off. So anyway, long story short, I did Big Sur. I kept going, got better and better. Found a coach, and I went back to New York in '96. 6 years after my first marathon. It was now my 8th marathon, and that first one in 1990 being a total disaster. Except the only thing that was good about the marathon is I finished it. The one that I ran 4 hours and 41 minutes in 1990, I went back in 96 and I ran 2:42.
Wow.
And then I went from there, got faster and faster. I ended up running 4:17 for the mile, 2:34 for the marathon, and
4:17 miles, pretty quick.
And how many marathons have you run now?
29.
29.
Yeah, which is not, it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot compared to some people, but it was over 29 years, so it was spread out.
Right.
And there was several years where I didn't run a marathon. I ran 2 or 3 in some years, none in others.
Which was your last marathon?
New York 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
I still bump into people who recognize me and they go, "Are you GP's brother?" Like Laurie Negro from.
Is that a proud moment for you when you hear that?
Yeah, but they go, "Oh God, he was murderous." So every time I trained with him, it was torture.
Does anyone ask you how great Neil is?
Oh yeah, that was just it's always the same thing with you. It's just like he knows everybody and is such a character, He's larger than life. There's a great, if you have time, I can tell you a quick story which is cool for the ladies.
Is this about Neil?
No, nothing to do with Neil. So when I started to migrate from, I was still running competitively, but I sort of wanted to get into coaching a little bit when I started coaching. So I put an ad in the, I don't remember if it was the Sentinel, probably the Sentinel, I guess, not the Good Times, probably the Sentinel, for a running camp. I thought I'd do a 1 hour camp at SoCal High School, 1 hour a week, for 6 weeks. And this is like 1995. And 14 women signed up for it. I didn't even think about that, but it's part of the story that'll make sense in a minute. And one guy. And so we did the 6 weeks, and then we went to Carpos, right, down in SoCo, for beer and pizza for the last night. And then the guy got up to leave, and he said, I got to get going. I said, I got to be up early for work over the hill. So he left, and then I was the second one to leave because I had to get up to run the next morning. And one of the women said to me, who was a friend of, a wife of a good friend of mine, her name's Pam Seiler, or Pam Kirby, who's married to Glenn Seiler. As I left, she goes, hey, so what are we going to do now? I said, well, you're going to practice what we worked on. She goes, well, a couple of girls and I were thinking about starting, maybe we start a running club. And I didn't want anything to do with it. I was like, no, I don't want any part of meetings and minutes. I had no interest in that. She said, well, how about if we just meet maybe once a week and pay you? And I'm like, that sounds good. But here's the point of the story. I hadn't connected the dots yet. The year before, Oprah Winfrey was on the cover of Runner's World magazine. And that was the biggest issue they ever had. So what I'd accidentally fallen into was part of this women's running group. And one of the girls, very interesting, was a girl by the name of Shanna Springmeyer, who was a rookie firefighter, who is now a battalion chief. She rose all the way up the ranks, been very much involved in the fires you've had here in California. She was an artist, which is very appropriate here, and she loved the Iron Maidens, the band the Iron Maidens. So she made this logo, and they called themselves the Iron Maidens. It was kind of a double entendre. And it became, at the time, the largest women's running group in California, just by sheer accident. I didn't have any thought about that, but it was all to do with Oprah Winfrey's. It was just the time of the mid-90s. So it was kind of a cool story.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah. And you're amazing is that you're still 100% involved in running.
100% involved in running.
And what level are you coaching at now?
Why don't you just run the mile then?
I just ran the mile. I wanted to train for the mile. I don't really race that much anymore. I have a full-time career with UPS, so it's time is limited. But the mile's great because you can train for the mile without having to put that much investment of time in. It's quality over quantity. So I just ran the mile in 5:37. We're the same age, 58. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's something to do.
Neil and I would run a quarter mile about that.
Something to do. But the reason I do it, there's a reason I do it. I do it. I have friends that of my age and say, I don't know why you do it. You're never going to run as fast as you used to. And it makes me very angry when they say it. And I always have the standard answer. And I always disarm them. I say, you're right. I've had a few friends that of my age that have quit running. Once they get to the point where they couldn't run as fast as they used to, they can't deal with that. Always guys. And I say, yeah, you're 100% right. I will never run 4:17 for the mile again. I will never run 2:34 for the marathon. And I point my finger at them and I say, I will never be as fast as I was yesteryear. But I sure as that can be faster than I was yesterday. And that's what keeps me driving on.
Good for you.
And the second point, which is probably more important, is when you're coaching track, I can't speak for other sports, when you're coaching track or running in general, if you haven't competed for a long time, you remember the X's and O's. You can say, yeah, you can run this fast, you can run this how many repeats, you can do the workout. But if you haven't competed and got out there and got out your comfort zone, you don't remember the psychology of how difficult it is to step on the line and actually run close to the sun, beyond your comfort level. And so I still do that, and it keeps me in touch with the emotion of the athlete. I think it's very, very important to be in touch with the emotion of the athlete, not just to do the X's and O's.
Right. Huh. And when you're coaching, what type of coaching are you doing?
So I've coached from Olympic level down. I coach privately. One of my students who was back in high school was just competed at the Olympics this summer in, she is, Ajay, in Japan. She was in Brazil. But mostly I coach corporate, age group, competitive stuff. That is not all Olympic development or anything like that. I used to do more of that, but again, now with UPS being so busy, it's mostly just age group, competitive people that I work with, and it's great. But I specialize in mechanics. I wrote a couple of books in mechanics. One of the Iron Maidens, I was looking for a book in the mid-90s on running technique, because there's so many books out there in nutrition, good books on the training aspects of running, how fast. A lot of great books out there. There wasn't much on really anything on technique. So I kept looking for it, and one of my local girls at the time here in Santa Cruz, Amy Walters, just got so frustrated with me one day. She goes, you know all this. Why don't you just write the book? And that's not right away, but that's what caused me to eventually write the book, a book on running technique called Run Tall, Run Easy. And that's what happened.
Still available?
Still available on Amazon, yeah. Still available, yeah, in ebook and stuff like that. You can just go online, Run Tall, Run Easy, and it'll come right up.
You reading that book?
Hell no.
What?
So
anyway, so I know TC, your family's far away, and my family's far away. My brother lives in New Jersey. My sister in Toronto, Canada, and my half sister in Auckland, New Zealand. So
I will say something, Neil.
What's
you
that?
love your family.
I love
Yeah,
my
he
family.
does.
Yeah.
He does. It was tough when my wife and I, who lived in Santa Cruz, moved long before Sam was born. He was not even 2 yet. Just after 9. The reason we moved was for schooling, and even coaching Reed Hastings, who's the founder of Netflix, at that time was very heavily involved in charter schools. He said, "You're doing the right thing at school." And my wife's from New Jersey, so that's why we moved. But it was tough. Obviously, anytime you're away from family, it's
Sure.
So if
It's
you got
tough.
family out there, give them a big hug. Tell them you love them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and stay in
Yeah.
touch with them. Call them as much as you can. We don't call each other enough. I know that.
you
I
got
love
to
my
be strong.
nephews.
Though. You got to be
This
strong.
is
you
a
know.
new addition to the family right here. Pretty soon, I think, huh?
And if you are a parent, like he's going to England next week, and our parents have kids going off to college, and some of our parents, they have helicopter parents. We have friends that are helicopter parents. They don't let the kids go. You got to be strong for them, and they got to be strong. He's going to have to be strong, and we'll be strong too. And you got to let him go. If you love him, you got to let him go.
Are you leaving a lady friend?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
What's her name?
Brianna.
Brianna.
There we
Sorry,
go.
Brianna.
Brianna's going to be crying. That box of Kleenex is going to be how big?
Well, you know, they do have that FaceTime thing, though.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are. That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
That's
so
how
that'll
FaceTime
be all
is.
right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, awesome family story we have going on here. Yeah, a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if you were to race Neil, would you just smoke him?
Oh,
right
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd
See,
smoke him.
we ran the
But
ball for
I'd
more-
smoke him.
Are you
But to be
fast?
I would
fair,
smoke him,
to be
yeah.
fair, when I lived in Santa Cruz, we played endless amounts of golf, and I've never beaten him once. He'd kill me at golf to this day. I could never beat him. So, running is my small myopic world. Which he was better swimmer than I was. Soccer player, we were probably pretty even. I was a better rugby player, mostly because he didn't play rugby really. But running is my thing. But you know, he's a big boy. I'm a much more running size.
He come get me. I've run the wharf to wharf.
Yeah.
And I'd be dying in
Oh,
Opal
you ran
Cliff.
the
I
wharf
did.
to wharf?
Yeah,
I
Opal
did
Cliff.
ask him about the race I paced him through in Los Gatos.
Oh, they paced me through.
The 10K. I paced him through a
I was
10K.
dying.
Oh man, you were like a water buffalo going down there. Man, like a water buffalo. Yeah, water buffalo.
I was
A water buffalo doesn't seem fast.
I was dying, TC. And,
Oh,
and then
my
one
God.
race he came back and got me.
Yeah, I
I'm
did.
like, and
You,
Opal,
you finished the race and then went
See,
back
yeah.
and got him?
Opal
Yeah.
Cliff felt like this.
Yeah.
It felt like this.
I love
Yeah.
it. So you ran it basically twice?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But I'll leave you with this funny story. It has nothing to do with any of the stuff we talked about. But when he was a kid, he was just got his driving license. He might have been 18, 19 in England. I was a nipper. He asked him about the time when he took, he didn't steal, but he borrowed our mother's 280 SL Benz, came back, and unfortunately for not for him, but for a very good friend of ours, Chris Carpenter, my mum thought that he was walking through the door with the keys. Chris happened to walk through first, and she nailed him with an orange. Thinking it was Neil, and she smacked Chris right in the face with an orange.
Well,
That's a
didn't
little dirt
Neil-
on him.
Didn't Neil move here? But did he like take some money?
I
out of
stole
the
my mom's
purse?
car.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Okay, we're going to push that in.
On the next episode,
We'll get back to that one next time.
Okay, next week we got unbelievable. She's coming here next week. Cameron Klein. What a voice. Do you see a
All
video of her?
Yeah, she's amazing.
Unbelievable.
Cameron Klein next week.
Tomorrow night at the Palms in Los Gatos.
Big show.
And then Friday, Midtown
Midtown party's going off, huh?
off.
Okay.
Yeah, going off.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. T-Fox, thanks for having us on Santa Cruz Waves. You guys, safe travels. Best of luck to all of you. Great stories. We'll get into the dirty stuff next
Yeah, I can't wait till
time.
your family.
Yeah.
I can't wait till your family shows up.
They got stories. Okay, till next time. We'll see you next time on the Off Lip Radio Show.